we've got a bumper card at Awapuni, as we mentioned. We've got 4 races we want to highlight there, and we're going to start with race number 4, the Manawatu Classic, over the 2,000 metres for the 3-year-olds. Headed up by On the Bubbles, $2.10. Ruark, very good winner last time, $4.80. Pinarello, $5. Ling Zhong Feng, $10. Soldier Boy, $13. Amalfi Prince, $21. Tenzing, $26. Sporting Chance, $31. Rocket Lad, the maiden by preferment, running good races, $40-1. $50-1 for Titled and Giacomo, and Set in Stone is your outsider there at $60-1. But as is Tahuya there as well at $60-1. BP, look, no one was going to beat Imperatriz last start, the way it was imperious Imperatriz at Trentham in the Levin Classic. But look, On the Bubbles ran another good race and deserved favourite.
Look, he is, isn't he? And this is a classic case of On the Bubbles, a Group 1 performer at 14 and 1,600 metres. Of course, the winner of the Manawatu Size Produce Stakes last year, versus horses that have performed over distance, and a couple of Derby contenders who ran 4th and 5th respectively in the Vodafone New Zealand Derby. I speak of Soldier Boy and Pinarello. So this is how you have to try and weigh the race up with him getting to more distance for the first time, 2,000 metres, up against some horses like Pinarello, who was very well favoured going into the Derby, with how that horse was able to win the 65 over 2,100 metres when trying to work out his performance versus La Creek. And many thought it was a race between those two with how they went into the Derby. He finished into 5th position. Soldier Boy, who went round at massive odds, still fought on and put up a courageous effort to run 4th in the Derby. Is also in the race here on the weekend, with Ruark bringing a couple of nice wins to the table around this runner, a half to travelling light. But I guess, Aidan, as we look at the race, it's about, you take the 210 if you believe On the Bubbles can get up to the 2,000 metre distance for the very first time, or do you look towards horses that have been proven, and certainly Pinarello has been proven with how he won 2 starts ago and was so well favoured in the Derby?
I think, Brendan, that you just rely on his class. He is the class act of this field. He won the Sires this day last year. Obviously, he'd won a Karaka Million, and he's been very good right throughout the preparation. And I think you've got to be forgiving of him a little bit in that Living Classic last time out. He was just in that pocket, basically turning from home, just nowhere to go, right the way down till about the 250-metre mark when Jonathan Parks has had to ease him 4 wide off heels. And then he's really taken ground off Imperatriz at the line, 3/4 of a length. So from where he's come from, very good run. And he's just a class act. It's just a new challenge for him, isn't it, up to 2,000 metres? But on ratings, and obviously the ratings on what he's done, ability-wise, not at the distance, he's head and shoulders above this field, and I think he'll win easily.
Oh, win easily. I like this comp. Coming in straight off the bat with a nice sort of strong confidence. Look, Aidan, what do you make of the run of Pinarello? Well favoured in the Derby. Ran 5th, so it wasn't a bad run. It's been $7 into $5, and look, comes back to the 2,000 metres. Are there any concerns there? How do you rate Pinarello?
I think you rate Pinarello a lot on what he'd done in the Derby lead-up, when he was just decisive, and he bounded into, second favouritism for the Derby off the back of that run. Nothing went right for him in the Derby. He just got back and he got shuffled. He was out the back door, and he's really hit the line nicely, but far too late. So just nothing went right for him. At the 2,000 metres, obviously, he's proven there, so that's his advantage over On the Bubbles. He is the clear danger here, but has he done anything that On the Bubbles has done yet? And that's my query about him. Real respect about him, for sure. I thought he was the clear danger to On the Bubbles, but I was with a class act at the top. I almost made him my best of the weekend.
Oh, geez, this was a fantastic start with On the Bubbles, Aidan. Thank you. Look, BP, you summed it up pretty well here. You've got the horses that we know are proven over ground against that class. The rating 88 there of On the Bubbles, down to about a 70 with Pinarello. So there's a fair gap, as Aidan points out. On the Bubbles, with that step, you've got a horse like Pinarello that we know is going to get the distance. That sort of, therein lies the race in a lot of respects, doesn't it?
And I reckon too, around Pinarello, there is that likelihood and chance that he can sit a pair or two closer with his barrier draw, with barrier number 4. He may not get back as far as we have seen him in some of his races. Obviously, he was a horse that, as we've mentioned, was beaten in the Derby, but he just might have that opportunity of just being a pair or two closer over a distance of 2,000 metres, which might just help his opportunity here of being amongst it. I find it difficult to get away from those two at the top of the book with the form they both bring. And away from those, Soldier Boy potentially could be that other horse where his run in the Derby was so massive that he has to be included because we know that he can run at a strong 2,400 metres. Then you're trying to work out horses that have come through maiden races, maiden ASAT events. Some horses haven't even won races near the bottom of this book. So look, it does fall away quickly, doesn't it, when you're trying to line up some other runners in the race. Hence why so fixated on the top of the book and a couple of other horses that have performed well in the Derby. So I think On the Bubbles is the clear selection in the race. Could look to have a little Quinella with Pinarello, and maybe Soldier Boy would be where I would be heading. So trying to play around those type of horses, and Ruark is respected, who might go forward. How do you see the race shape here, Aidan, around the race over the 2,000 metres?
I had Ruark going forward. I actually had Ruark in the trail. The horse who I thought might be something of a surprise leader would be Set in Stone, who they just decided to ride a little bit conservatively in the Lowland last time out, but prior to that had led in both of those two starts. So I thought they'd be as positive as they could be with Set in Stone. And the other horse I thought would go forward was Amalfi Prince from a wideish gate. Just the way that ended up, because On the Bubbles for mine gets the run of the race in the 1-1 with Amalfi Prince, the stablemate going up and giving him cover. Obviously, Amalfi Prince was better last time out. He was well beaten by Pinarello a couple of starts back. He was pretty good in winning his maiden 3 starts back to basically qualify for the Derby, but didn't do enough in that Derby lead-up. But really encouraging to see him go so close at Matamata last time out. So he's a factor again on this, although for the minor end. And you speak about Ruark. So that Ruark Lungjin Zhongfeng race, there wasn't much between them. Ruark had been really good the start before, so real respect around him. And also around the Moroni runner as well, who was just terrific clearing maidens at Hastings a couple of starts back. For mine, they were running for minors because, as I've said, I thought it was a race that On the Bubbles was, as long as he sees out 2,000 metres, and all reports saying no problems. It's just like any other horse stepping from 16 to 2,000 metres for the first time. You know, you think, oh, it's a natural progression. Just we haven't seen him at that before because he's been so brilliant at the shorter trips, but he looks like he'll get it. No concerns for mine.
Well, he brings that class edge as well. So if he's going to get it 3 years old against his own age, Aidan, it'd be the time to do it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and drawn to get a soft run for mine as well. So everything's in the right place for him. You know, you look at those Manawatu size horses at 1,400 metres. You know, you think, oh, they're going to be a staying type horse later in their career. So yeah, it is a natural progression for him.
But where do you put this maiden ASAT form, BP, around Ruark and Lungjin Zhongfeng? Both good runs. The boys have obviously rated Ruark pretty highly here, 4.8. It opened second favourite ahead of Pinarello, perhaps surprisingly.
Yeah, look, I think I always rate the form. I think those type of races, because you bring a number of different form lines and references into maiden ASAT races through right when you watch them out of those races to go back to midweek grade to even a race like this. So I think they are good races. This is just a step up again, isn't it, for both of those horses? I guess as I said beforehand, it does start falling away after you go away from the top two in the book and On the Bubbles and also Pinarello and then Soldier Boy, and then the rest start fighting out for themselves. So I feel as though it's in that third or fourth bracket around both of them. Ruark's going to get the right run to give the horse every opportunity of going to 2,000 metres for the very first time. And Lungjin Zhongfeng, well, this is a horse who just keeps getting better this preparation. Since the maiden victory, the horses run that very good racing behind Ruark, and just every time it's gone to the races, he's gradually got better. Overall, Thad, I'm going with On the Bubbles on top. Feel as though Pinarello and Soldier Boy can run great races in behind for Quinellas and trifectas. So that would be my angle on the race.
We're not going to have to spend long with you then, Aidan, here in the Manawatu Classic with your betting strategy.
Absolutely, betting strategy is just on the nose on this one. It is On the Bubbles. Just going back to last year's race as well, which is it's interesting going back through these. Joy Alone Bet Milford Sound. The third horse home was Darjian Sweet Jr., who's come out and won an Avondale Cup earlier on this month as well. So the form stacked up from last year too.
Yeah, what Adelaide Cup was it?
Yeah, Adelaide Cup.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and Milford Sound, did that run the other day at Flemington? I think
I
it
don't
did.
know. I haven't seen Milford
Haven't seen
Sound
it?
for a bit. He just promised so much, and there was, I think, his first run in the North this time last year. Then he went on and failed in the Championship Stakes, but his maiden was dynamic, and this run last year was he was very, very close to Joy Alone.
Yeah, some good form comes out of this race, Pops, there's no doubt. Is it just a bit soon for these outsiders here? I mean, these horses, these Rocket Lads, Giacomos, Tenzings, is it just come up a little bit soon to try and challenge it on the bubbles and not to say that they can't kick on as a 4, 5, 6-year-olds?
Yeah, and look, it's a lot of horses who were on the fringe for the Derby or have run well in the Derby. We've seen horses, perform in this race. Charles Road won this race one year as well, and a lot of horses have then bounced out of this and have gone to Australia as well for a preparation into their 3-year-old season. So, look, it is a race that we can discover some horses that will be strong autumn contenders also. So, an opportunity for those horses to have a throw at the stumps at a good race. Hence why we see those sort of 1-win horses and even maiden gallopers for a good stake. The belief that they are worthy of having a good shot at it, so why not?
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But you boys are not swayed on the bubbles, $2.10. Both have it on top. Soldier Boy and Selections Pinarello as well. But the boys very keen, thinking the gelding on the bubbles can do the job over 2,000 metres for the first time. No problem at all, and drawn to get that sweet run